The doorbell was still vibrating under my finger when his voice cracked through the wood like a gunshot. "Go away." A pause. "Your stepmother doesn't want you here. Only important people today." The porch light burned my eyes. Snow melted into my shoes. My breath fogged the glass I could no longer see through. Somewhere inside, cutlery chimed. Laughter rose and fell, practiced and warm. I stood there holding a pie that suddenly felt like evidence. My blood didn't rush. It drained, clean, surgical. I didn't knock again. I didn't speak. I didn't cry. I smiled because that was when I understood the rules had changed. I walked back to my car slowly, as if any sudden movement might shatter what little remained of me. The neighborhood watched. It always does. Curtains twitch, dogs bark. No one intervenes when family wounds itself. The engine turned over like it always had, loyal. I sat there with my hands on the wheel, listening to the muffled celebration behind me, counting my breaths until they stopped shaking. Something was off. Not just the rejection, the speed of it, the certainty, the way he didn't say my name. Important people. I replayed the words like a riddle that only reveals its answer after it's too late. I wasn't always expendable. I remember when he taught me how to lock a door without making a sound, when he told me where the spare key to the cabin was hidden and said, "Family protects family." I remember him calling me first when things broke, when money was tight, when he needed a witness to his version of events. The stepmother arrived like a fog, soft at first, then everywhere. Compliments wrapped in thorns, questions that felt like audits. She learned my schedule before she learned my middle name. He laughed it off. I told myself I was imagining things. That's how betrayal begins. Quiet, patient, polite. The signs were small. A meeting moved without notice. A check that never cleared. My messages read and unanswered. Her voice in the background when I called him late, sharp as glass. I cataloged it all and pretended not to notice. After Christmas, the house went silent. No apology, no explanation. Silence is the loudest confession. The next morning, my phone rang. His name filled the screen like a dare. I answered on the third ring. "I need the key to the cabin," he said. No greeting, no warmth, just need. The cabin. The word unlocked everything. That place was a ledger, years of it. Not just memories, records. I'd been careful, he'd taught me to be. Deeds in my name because it was simpler. Receipts stored where only I knew. A camera he forgot I installed after the break-ins nearby. Conversations he didn't know I'd archived because I was always the responsible one. I said nothing, let him talk. He filled the silence with urgency. Deadlines, contractors, a buyer he wanted to impress. I watched the clock. Timing matters. I didn't rush. Revenge rushed is confession. I prepared like a clerk closing the books at year's end. Screenshots labeled, files duplicated, names cross-referenced. I listened more than I spoke. I learned who benefited, who lied, who thought I was weak because I was quiet. She overplayed her hand. People always do when they think the game is over. He underestimated me. He always had. I made calls he didn't expect, asked questions that sounded naive. I became forgettable on purpose. I let them believe the story where I was hurt and gone. There's power in letting people relax. The confrontation wasn't a storm, it was a calm morning. We met at the cabin because that's where he wanted control. He brought her. She smiled too wide. He avoided my eyes. The wood stove clicked as it cooled. The camera light blinked unnoticed. He asked for the key again, held out his hand like a king expecting tribute. I took a breath, slow, clean, and I spoke. I already changed the locks. 5 words. He laughed first, then he stopped. The smile slid off her face like a mask. Silence expanded. I placed the folder on the table. Not slammed, placed. Receipts, deeds, audio transcripts, dates, amounts, the things you can't argue with without admitting guilt. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Control isn't volume, it's certainty. He tried denial, then anger, then bargaining. She went pale. She reached for him. He pulled away. The power shifted with a sound like ice cracking. "I was protecting you," he said. I nodded. "That's what you called it," I replied. After, there was paperwork. There always is. Consequences are administrative. I watched them sign with shaking hands. I watched the cabin return to what it always was, mine. Not because I wanted it, because it was taken from me with a lie. When they left, I stayed. I opened the windows, let the cold air scrub the room clean. I made tea and sat where he used to sit, listening to the quiet I'd earned. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt finished. Now, when the phone rings, I let it go to voicemail. When my name comes up in conversations I'm not in, I'm told it lands differently, with respect, with caution. Silence does that. It teaches people to listen for your footsteps. I learned something important that winter. Family is a contract, not a guarantee. Trust is a currency. And timing is everything. I was early for Christmas once. I'm never early again.